Hello and welcome back. My name is Erin Ferguson and this is my video series about creating the art for a 2D video game. And the most exciting update I have for you this week that I'm just going to start right off the bat with is I got a lighting kit for my office. I am so excited about it. So that's why it looks so bright and glowy in here today. If you're not new to my channel, you know that whenever I would show my face, it was like orange. It was really orange and dark. And so I finally broke down and bought this really cool lighting kit on Amazon Prime Day. And I'm actually super impressed with them so far. Not that I've ever owned a lighting kit, so I don't have anything to compare them to, but for my purposes, they are working great. So anyway, that is my most exciting news today. But actually, today's video is going to be a little bit different from some of my other ones, because I'm not actually going to be doing any drawing today, but I am going to be creating some Instagram posts. So something that I've noticed when I've been, perusing Instagram and trying to see how other indie game developers are promoting their games, one thing that I've noticed a lot is they'll use a lot of screenshots as Instagram posts, and I feel like I could be wrong on this. I'd be interested in hearing feedback, what you all think, but I feel like those don't work very well for Instagram. Just something I've noticed is, whereas a game can look really cool and impressive on, a big monitor or on your TV screen, when you try and compress that down into this tiny little postage stamp sized image that people are going to be seeing on their phone, a lot of times it seems to me like it's too busy. There's too much happening in that one small image for it to translate very well to Instagram. Whereas I feel like things that work really well on Instagram are usually big, bold images that use the space really well. And I do have a bit of an advantage because my Instagram, which will be linked below by the way, so you should totally go follow me, my Instagram is not specifically about promoting King Me, the game that we're working on. My Instagram promotes my art, and this just happens to be the project that I'm working on right now. This is the flavor of the month, so if you're following me, this is what you get to see. So in some ways I have an advantage because I am the artist behind the project, so I can use the assets and stuff I create to make Instagram posts. But I feel like I'm going to be doing a bit of an experiment, and I will update you on how it goes. Because in the past, I have posted stuff to Instagram, but never on any regular kind of schedule. Sometimes I would be really good about getting stuff up a couple of times a week, or even up to 3 times a week. But most of the time it was I would post when I'd feel like it, and it's hard to gain traction that way because a lot of times I just don't feel like it. It's funny because I love Instagram as it's my favorite way to waste time, pretty much, if I've got nothing else to do. Just the infinite scroll sucks me in. But I feel like posting to it is often kind of a chore. So something that I'm going to try doing is making a bunch of Instagram posts ahead of time and probably uploading them to something like later where I can schedule when they will post, and trying to keep a schedule that way. So I'm gonna try it. See if during this video I can make I'm thinking a dozen posts, put them together. So that way I can do it 3 times a week and just see how that goes. So you'll be in on the experiment with me. But I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to my screen here in just a second. I'll kind of walk you through some of the posts that I'm creating, and we'll see, we'll just see here in a month or so if it works, if we're able to gain any traction. So hang on just a second. I will go ahead and switch over to my screen and we'll get to work. Okay, I am back and we are into Photoshop here, and I actually started working on this, just kind of chipping away at this pile of Instagram posts I wanted to make a little bit earlier this morning. So I just wanted to show you what I've made so far. And this is kind of what I'm talking about when I say I want to do images specifically for Instagram. This is not a screenshot from the actual game. For one thing, I'm still, tinkering with the placement of certain things, but also I feel like screenshots, they tend to be a little bit grainy, but this image all it's doing is using assets that I've already made, and it's just putting them into a composition, a nice square composition with a big, bold sort of image in the middle that I think will work well for Instagram. So this is one of the ones I've put together here. My problem is there are things I want to share that I don't think, I'd like to share, but I don't think they necessarily work well as like standalone images, and I'll show you what I mean. So for instance, I thought it would be cool to show this mock-up I did for this big stable. I thought it'd be really cool to show this on Instagram. The thing is this again has that same problem where if you are viewing this on your phone, as you likely are in watching this video, you can see it's very hard to see anything. It's just plain too small. So I feel like this image does not work by itself as an Instagram image unless you pair it with like a close-up. Like, you know how you can stack images on Instagram. And I feel like if the first one is a good close-up, maybe of just the stable doors or whatever, and then the second one is a zoomed back image, I feel like that can work. So I'm still playing with that idea. One thing I thought I could do was to do a close-up of the interior of the stable, so you see just a little bit, some of the assets and stuff that I've made. I'm not sure I'm 100% happy with this one yet. I'm still probably going to tinker with it a bit. But I thought if this was my top image, and then I could show, say, like this one, which is a mock-up of the whole interior, and then this one, which is a mock-up of the exterior, that could work as sort of like a package deal. But one of the ones I wanted to work on next, I'm just going to come back to these at some point, but I really wanted to do a mock-up that uses the lighthouse, because I just really enjoyed drawing that. So I am thinking that's going to be my next one to work on. And one thing I'm keeping in mind here too is I want to preserve that square format as much as possible. I know that you can, of course, do other formats on Instagram as well these days, but I feel like the square still works the best if you're able to pull it off. Okay, I feel pretty good about this. It still keeps that square format, and I still feel like there's a really big focal point, so I think I'm going to keep this, but I want to add some water and like palm trees and things like that to make it look like it could be a screenshot from the game. Even though it's not, I'd like to preserve that illusion. Okay, so I've got this edge done. I'm sort of just gonna like design the way I want the water to go. So like I said, I'm composing like a standalone image here, really. That's kind of the idea. That lighthouse, what I might do is I want the whole thing in there, but I may shrink it. Okay, so I've zoomed out a little bit just to make sure that this still looks good small, and I like the composition. I want to add some more trees and like just coastal like rocks and things like that, but then I think this one will be probably ready to go. I still haven't quite figured out what my posting schedule should be to Instagram. In my experience, I feel like evenings or like late afternoon tends to work better than maybe some other times of day. My theory is that people are getting home from work, you know, around 5, 6, whatever, and they're just decompressing and they're scrolling through Instagram. So that's been, in my experience, that's been a pretty successful time to post. I think that like first thing in the morning, I've heard some people say that has been successful for them, because that's something people will do when they first wake up, is they'll go, you know, scroll through Instagram. My problem with that one is that means I would actually have to be up and in the mood to post, you know, early in the morning, and generally that's pretty far from the forefront of my mind when I first wake up in the morning. Plus, our mornings are just like crazy anyway, because, you know, trying to get kids ready to go and breakfast, and I got exercise, and pack lunch for my son, and other things like that. So I think I'm gonna try doing evenings, because that's what I've had the most success with in my limited experiments. It's usually the most engagement happens for me between about, like, I would say about 5 and 6 o'clock, is if I post in that window. I tend to get a little more yeah, like I said, a little more engagement then. So I think I'll give that a try, and I'll let you know if that works out for me. The number of times you post a week, I mean, obviously more is better. Like, Instagram's algorithm is going to reward you for posting more often, post you consistently. However, like, I just don't want to spend that much time on Instagram. So I think 3 times a week is probably pretty generous as like a goal to start off with. It helps also that I have a lot of content already. The amount of content I actually have versus the amount that I actually post either to Instagram or to YouTube or anywhere else is well, actually the amount I post is pretty insignificant compared to the amount of stuff I've actually made. I have just tons and tons and tons of stuff. And so, in that regard, I've got plenty of stuff. I'm not worried about just like running out of things to post anytime soon because, like I said, I have tons. So that would be something to consider too if you're if you're starting out, you're trying to promote something and you want to start promoting on Instagram, is you might wait until you have a backlog of stuff. Work on your project for a month or more and make sure you have a backlog, so that way you're not scrambling trying to come up with stuff to post. You already have stuff made. So in theory, like I said, a lot of this is theoretical because I've never had like a hard and fast Instagram schedule before. And I might not have one after this anyway if I don't enjoy it, but and if it doesn't produce any results, but we'll see. At the very least, I feel like I'm making standalone images that I could use for promotion elsewhere, so I feel like it's not exactly like time wasted or anything. I could always use these for other things if I wanted to. And as you can see, like, I think I did a video where I made this lighthouse. In fact, I think I colored it in real time, didn't I? That seems right. I can't remember, though. You'd think I would know. But, I've never shown, like, these palm trees or these rocks or anything like that. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff. Okay, I'm kind of liking this as a standalone image, actually. I think that looks pretty good. I think that would work for Instagram. So I'm going to go ahead and call this one done. I'm going to check this one off. Another one that I'd like to do is something with this building here. This is our resident wizard lives here. And I would like to do something with that. I think this would be a fun one to feature. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. So this is actually our little like hermitage where our wizard lives here. And I really enjoyed drawing this one, although I can't remember if I actually got footage of drawing this one. I should figure it out though, because if I did, this would be a fun video to make. Let's make some trees around this thing. Let's grab some seasonal trees. Yeah. I want to put some pink trees for some nice contrast. These are some of the trees that will appear, throughout the world that'll actually change with the seasons. Yeah, look at that. I kind of want it to feel a little bit like tucked away and hidden a bit, like someplace you might stumble on, which is sort of what I'm going for in-game, too. That feels pretty good to me. It feels like it's a little bit secluded, kind of tucked back there, but we need our characters, so let's grab Archimedes the wizard. There he is. I love this guy. He looks like borderline insane, and I really like him. Alright, here we go, Archimedes. Let's stick him out in front of his house. Yeah. Now, what do we think of that? I think that, let me back out, but I think, like, as a standalone image, that is pretty successful. In fact, I'm wondering if I could crop it in even a bit more. Let's see. Yep. Alright. We're calling that one done. Another one I thought about featuring was the black market shop here. So I'm going to go ahead and make a post out of this one. We're going to need water again because this whole thing sits on water. And let's make this canvas square. Okay, so we've got our water in place. Now I basically just need to reconstruct this boardwalk here and put everything back together the way it would look in-game. The way it will look in-game. I actually have all of this stuff all mocked up and ready to go, actually. I've started, instead of mocking things up in Photoshop, I decided I should learn Unity a bit, since that's what we're using to make this game. And so I've been actually just mocking it up in there, which saves a step, because you don't have to do it twice, essentially. I'm just going to add a little bit of railing right there. I wonder if I should repeat the railing. I think I will. Why not? We'll repeat the railing off to the side. Not that this would do much to save you if you actually were falling. Looks a little rickety to me, but it looks nice. It kind of gives it a finished edge, doesn't it? Okay, so I feel pretty good about that. I think I do want to do one little touch on these down here. I want to make it look like these legs are actually sunk into the water, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of Photoshop wizardry here. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better, especially small on Instagram. I think that'll be fine. Let's go ahead and grab Iago, who's our guy who runs the black market shop, and again, stick him in this scene, and then we'll crop it down, because I have way more canvas here than I need. But let's grab this guy, our shady friend, Iago. Yeah. He is sketchy. Also possibly a marriage candidate, so if you like sketchy guys, he's your man. Yeah, look at those nose scars. I think it would be funny if that was an option for your character to ask him, what happened to your nose? I mean, you want to ask, right? Of course you want to ask. Alright, how does that look? I think that looks good. Let's crop it down. Yeah, I think as a standalone image, that's pretty... I think that's pretty good. I think that works. I could do a little bit of beach here off in the distance, but I don't know. I kind of just like the blue background. Yeah, I think I'm good with that one. I'm going to save that one. And we're just in time because I have just a few minutes to start getting this video edited and ready to post today. But I think we've got some pretty strong images today, actually. I'm pretty pleased with these. I'm going to go ahead and work on this probably later this afternoon once I have both of the kids home and get them occupied doing something. I'll probably try and do several more so I can line up all of my Instagram posts for the rest of the month. But I will let you know, of course, how this experiment goes. So I appreciate you hanging out with me while I worked on some Instagram posts. And, of course, I will let you know how it works, if there's anything I would change. And let me know if you have any secrets, because I always like to hear them. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and again, I will be back next Friday, as always, with a new one. So until then, enjoy the rest of your week.